week 2 in NBC's 30th year of covering NFL football, and we're at Tampa Stadium, where today the Indianapolis Colts take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And hello again, everybody. I'm Mike Bush alongside Dan Hampton. Indianapolis is 1-0 to start the season. In fact, in 1994, they are undefeated. They went 4-0 in the preseason, undefeated ever since instituting the Marshall Plan. Marshall Faulk has been very impressive.
Well, he has, and more than that, Indianapolis has showed up with this brand-new tough guy attitude, and it's most obvious on offense. Well, Marshall Faulk has rushed for 143 yards last week and 3 touchdowns, something the Colts fans haven't seen in a long, long time.
This is the 8th meeting between these two teams. In fact, Sam Weiss was telling us they owe the Colts some payback. And we have the kickoff knocked out of bounds, and the Colts will take over on offense. Will Wolford, he's the veteran, number 67, protecting Jim Harbaugh. Kirk Loudermilk comes over from the Minnesota Vikings. He is an Iron Man. Of course, the man to watch, number 28, Marshall Faulk. Roosevelt Potts, the fullback. And when they go to the Colt formation, Shannon Baker comes in, and Roosevelt Potts comes out. Getting ready for football, Jim Harbaugh, the new quarterback for the Colts. Coming over from the Chicago Bears, it is Potts, and Faulk gets the ball on first down, breaks it off for about 5 yards. And there's a fumble recovered by Tampa Bay. Faulk is down on the field, apparently injured on the first play of the ball game, Dan.
But it looks like Indianapolis tried some kind of an inside trap play. Someone got a great shot on Marshall Faulk, causing the fumble. Luckily, the Colts were able to get it back. Here you'll see Santana Dotson coming down with a real nice strip move right there. Ball is loose. Now, after the ball is loose, it looks like maybe Eric Curry drove him into the ground, injuring that shoulder.
Faulk is on the bench. Potts in motion. And immediately, the Colts are having their problems offensively. Chidi Ahanatu on the stop. Marshall Faulk had the tremendous game last week, 143 yards rushing. Santana Dotson puts him out of the game. We talked to Santana Dotson yesterday. Flag on the play.
In the neutral zone. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
Your referee is Gordon McCarter. We talked to Dotson yesterday, Dan, and Dotson said Marshall Faulk is a rookie. He hasn't proved anything to us yet.
Well, Santana Dotson was able to prove that he wasn't able to get him to fumble. I don't think he's hurt very badly, but that's a big blow to the Indy offense.
And again, the Colts going nowhere. Roosevelt Potts on the carry. Defensively for the Buccaneers, the leader up front is Santana Dotson, the third-year man out of Baylor. They play what they call a 4-2-5 bucko. Barney Bussey is the hybrid safety linebacker. In the backfield, the big acquisition, the former Cowboy Thomas Everett, who brings with him 2 Super Bowl rings, and in the dime, 6 defensive backs. Passing situations, Mike Magruder and Tony Stargell come into the game. Third down for the Colts. 3rd and 1. They give to Potts. And he might have made it.
Well, it looks like Indianapolis was able to make that first down, and that's something Roosevelt Potts has really improved on this year, is that short yardage burst. But Indianapolis finds himself in a very peculiar position right now, because after last week's game, Mike, they really had almost thought that Marshall Faulk could walk on water, and to see themselves early in the game without him, it looks like they're trying to grasp at a few straws right now. They've got to go ahead and let Roosevelt Potts, the guy that rushed for over 700 yards last year, carry them until Marshall is able to get back.
In the backfield with Potts is number 25, Ronald Humphrey. And Harbaugh, play action, flags on the play. The catch made by Sean Dawkins. But remember, there are flags on the play.
It's kind of odd watching Indianapolis today compared to last week. They were almost letter perfect in the first 3 quarters. They lose Marshall Faulk, and it's almost like they became unplugged.
Offside, number 73, defense, penalty declined, first down.
Number 73, Brad Culpepper, who is starting for Wheeler at the nose tackle. You see him here trying to get just a little bit of an early jump. The old vet Loudermilk was able to trap another one.
And it's first down for Indianapolis. Good look at Brad Culpepper.
And in fact, I think it was Culpepper that drove Marshall Faulk into the ground, injuring his shoulder.
Faulk still on the bench. This is Humphrey. Picks up about 3 yards on the carry. Colts 45-21 winners last week at home against Houston. 4-12 a year ago. Marshall Faulk still being attended to on the sidelines.
Well, it looks all right. You know, a lot of times you'll get driven into the ground and it'll kind of pop that shoulder a little bit out of socket and it'll sting you for a minute. You're a little bit more afraid than injured.
Second down and 7. That's Potts in motion. Humphrey tries to turn the corner. Swift up. He's got ice on his hand as Marshall Faulk heads to the locker room. Marty Carter made the stop on Humphrey. What a big blow, Dan, to Indianapolis. 143 yards rushing in his debut.
Well, obviously that is a big blow. Marshall Faulk is a budding star that this team wants to build around, but they've still got an awful lot of good players. And foremost right now, Jim Harbaugh, a very unselfish quarterback, a leader type, needs to go ahead and make some efficient moves.
Third down and 5. Harbaugh to put it up. And he is sacked. Brad Culpepper substituting for Mark Wheeler, the starting left tackle, and Culpepper on the sack.
Well, Indianapolis is having some problems at identifying receivers. Here you'll see a big twist inside. We used to call that NT around. The left end and left tackle go down. Culpepper, the nose, sweeps around. No one there to pick him up. An instant sack.
Ron Stark is back to punt. Long-time punter for the Colts. Vernon Turner at the 10, looking for some running room. Gets out to the 15-yard line before he's gang tackled there. Brad Culpepper with the first big play of the ball game. We're scoreless in Tampa.
Brad Culpepper does a great job fighting off the block and getting back and piling on to Marshall Faulk, the sensation, but he's taking a short hike to the x-ray room.
Good look at Brad Culpepper. And Craig Erickson leads his Buccaneers for their first possession. 10:28 to go in the first quarter. We're scoreless in Tampa. The Colts and Buccaneers. Workman in motion. The trap play. The carry by Anthony McDowell, the fullback, and he picks up about 3 yards. Protecting Erickson, Paul Gruber, one of the best. Dill, Mayberry, Beckles, and number 79, Tim Irwin, who's practicing attorney in the offseason. Erickson's favorite receiver, number 85, Courtney Hawkins, who's just back with a broken hand. Vince Workman gained 81 yards rushing last week. They'll keep that same offense even in passing situations. 2nd and 7. McDowell in motion. Workman the carry, had a big game last week. Gets to the 23-yard line. Defensively, it's Hand, McCoy, Siragusa, and Bennett on the line for the Colts. Bennett's the free agent acquisition from Green Bay, the key to the pass rush, something the Colts did not have last year. The linebackers, Arad and Corriette, are outstanding. Ambrose, Daniel, Graham, Buchanan are back. And in the Colt nickel package, Damon Watts will be added. He's the rookie from Indiana University. The latest report we have on Marshall Faulk, he's got a sprained left wrist, but x-rays are being taken as a precautionary measure. 3rd and 3. Erickson to Workman, complete, first down.
So that's what the quarterback Craig Erickson gives you, is the very heady guy that doesn't make mistakes, takes what the defense gives him there on third and about 3, takes the obvious choice to Workman the back for the first down.
Devon McDonald on the stop. We talked to Craig Erickson yesterday, Dan, and this is a guy who is really working hard, studying the films every night during the week, really trying to become an outstanding quarterback. And Erickson to put it up, looking long. That's Hawkins. He could not make the grab. Eugene Daniel defensively on the play for the Colts.
Well, Courtney Hawkins is a guy that they're very, very excited about getting back. You know, he's had that broken hand, and that's one of his great assets. Eric told us yesterday that his hands are so strong, he can go up and take the ball away from defenders. Now, I think you'll see Courtney Hawkins get a free push-off right here. Watch right here. The wily vet shoves the DB away and then makes an adjustment on the ball just barely off his fingertips.
In the backfield now for Tampa Bay is the rookie Eric Rett, number 32. What a great kid he is. Spent some time with him yesterday. He wants the football. And he gets it for the University of Florida. Breaks across the 35-yard line. A gain of about 7 on the play. Daniel and Watts on the stop.
Well, Tampa Bay has made great strides on their offensive side of the ball in rushing. Now, last week they were able to control the clock, and you can see how. Right here, 123 yards rushing, over 4 yards a carry average. Now, between Workman and Eric Rett, they have a chance to be dominant on the ground. Now, that is something Sam Weiss says is so important to his young football team.
Eric Rett, the latest and great running backs out of the University of Florida, following in the footsteps of Emmitt Smith, Neil Anderson. Complete. Erickson to Willie Green. There is a flag on the play. Eugene Daniel made the stop. Craig Erickson threaded the needle there, and it appears to be against the Colts. Defensive holding.
Holding, number 57 defense, penalty declined, first down.
Well, you're going to see number 82, Willie Green, breaking the open here. Erickson drops back, checks the right side, sees the rotation, knows he can come back to the weak side. Willie Green, who is excellent at finding a spot down in that zone. He's between a zone corner and a zone linebacker. There's a hole. Well, Willie Green has done a great job of finding those holes. Erickson gets him the ball.
1st and 10 for the Buccaneers. They lost to Chicago last week, 21-9, but they outplayed them on the field. Just made too many mistakes. This is Eric Rett across midfield into Colts territory. And there's another flag on the play.
I tell you what, for an offense to be effective, they've got to have an attitude. And Tampa Bay has come out this year saying, hey, we're going to run the football. Here we're seeing a holding called against the Bucs. But on the last play, Anthony McDowell, the fullback, led on a 320-pound defensive tackle and rocked him back. Now that is an attitude when you can get your fullback to believe in the game that hard to go in there and stick his head in there.
Number 88 offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
The holding call on the wideout, Horace Copeland. He comes out of the ball game. Charles Wilson in. Talk about attitude. Eric Rett has an attitude about Marshall Faulk. Rett thinks he could be a star in this league as well. He may be able to prove himself today with Faulk now still in the locker room. 1st and 16. Erickson and Rett gets across the 45-yard line. Tackled there by Tony Bennett, number 56.
Well, Mike, Indianapolis' defense played so much better this year because of two things. One, the defensive coordinator, Vince Tobin, and here, number 56, Tony Bennett, acquired from Green Bay. There you saw him rush a passer and get cut, but he didn't lay on the ground. He got up and tracked down the running back. That is the type of relentless play that they have to have.
Another big acquisition for Tampa Bay in the offseason. Look for number 81. That's Jackie Harris, the tight end. Only had 3 receptions last week. He can block, he can catch. Doing some blocking there for Eric Rett. Stopped by Derwin Gray. at midfield. Marshall Faulk has come out of the locker room, Dan, and he appears to be okay.
And that big gasp of air of relief coming from Ted Marchibroda, I think we all heard it in the paper.
Ted Marchibroda, what a nice gentleman he is. Really thinks he's right on track with these Indianapolis Colts. 3rd and 11. The lone back is McDowell. Colts showing blitz. Erickson to put it up. Man coverage. Caught. Charles Wilson. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. A 50-yard pass play from Craig Erickson to Charles Wilson, 4th-year man out of Memphis State. And the Buccaneers take the early lead. Michael Houston on to kick the extra point. It is up, it is good, and the Buccaneers take an early 7-0 lead here at Tampa Bay Stadium. A pretty pass from Craig Erickson to Charles Wilson, and the Buccaneers are first on the scoreboard.
Raindrops on
Wilson capping off a 10-play drive. A 10-play, 84-yard drive for the Buccaneers. Ronald Humphrey brings it up for the Colts, spins, gets it near the 30-yard line. And Marshall Faulk out of the locker room and back out of the field. We'll see what he can do when we come back. Game for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have struggled over the years with their ground game, and Faulk has been chewing up the real estate in college. Look at these numbers. Out rushing the Colts team in 91, 92, and 93.
Ted Marchibroda says he is our home run hitter that we have to have.
The give, though, to Potts. And a quick pickup of about 7 yards.
I like that call right there. Instead of trying to give it back to Faulk on 1st down, hey, let that big offensive line that's played so well in the last couple of weeks, and your big fullback, Potts, let them go ahead and pound that underbelly of the Tampa Bay defense and let Marshall kind of acclimate himself once more. 63-year-old Ted Marchibroda in his 3rd year of his 2nd stint with the Colts. Here's Faulk. And again, he is stopped up. Hardy Nickerson, the All-Pro, number 56, and what a football player he is. Well, Hardy Nickerson was able to tackle him because number 55, Lonnie Martz, the left side linebacker, watched film this week. They saw Marshall Faulk stretch the defense and then cut back. Well, that time Martz was waiting there for the cutback, forcing him back into the middle when Nickerson cleaned up.
Nickerson has led his team in tackles at each of the last 3 seasons. Used to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Harbaugh, the quarterback. Potts and Faulk in the backfield. And they give to Faulk again. Up the gut. He's only able to gain a couple. Thomas Everett on the stop. Everett, the safety, Pro Bowl safety, comes over with 2 Super Bowl rings from the Dallas Cowboys. And this is what they're trying to do in Tampa Bay. Bring guys like Thomas Everett here, guys who have been there, been on winning teams, and try to instill that winning attitude. This is a franchise that has struggled for many years. 2nd down and 6. Again, it's Faulk. Cut to the outside, breaks it across the 50, and gets into Tampa Bay territory.
Let me tell you something, folks. Sam Weiss says this guy is the real deal. We are scared of him. Now, let me tell you how scared they are. The defense of Tampa Bay normally is a very active, stunning one. They're playing straight into the blockers, waiting for Marshall Faulk, and they still can't corral it. Their Faulk busting in through the middle. Another great job by his big offensive lineman. That time, Kurt Loudon up the center did a great job sealing off the nose.
Faulk taking a breather. Ronald Humphrey into the game, a 13-yard gain for Marshall Faulk. That's his biggest run of the afternoon. Movement on the line. Buccaneers lead the Colts 7-0. Flags on the play. Gordon McCarter is your referee. 2:14 to go in the first quarter. Tampa Bay marched downfield. 10 plays and a touchdown pass from Craig Erickson to Charles Wilson.
We saw Jim Harbaugh up there arguing that call. He's only lost here once in his career.
Start, right guard on the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
1st and 15 now for the Colts. Indianapolis 4-12 a year ago. Sam Weiss says we owe these guys some payback. A couple of years ago, the Buccaneers got off to a 3-1 start, and then they lost to Indianapolis, and that started a long losing streak, and they're looking forward to some payback today. Play action. Harbaugh near side and Dawkins. Go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
At Foxborough, Buffalo, the only team in the league last year not to score a touchdown, has scored twice today. Jim Kelly to Andre Reed for 37 yards here. Kelly also threw one to Thurman Thomas.
Indianapolis, 2nd down and 15. Ball at midfield. And they give to Faulk. Marshall Faulk with another big pickup.
I'll tell you what, it's very impressive to watch Marshall Faulk run, but even more so to see how he's affected the defensive strategy of Tampa Bay. Normally a very active front, twisting, stunts, all kinds of things, but they open up huge gaps in that front wall. Well, thus far, Tampa Bay has played just a 2-gap where they're just hitting into people, waiting for Marshall Faulk, and yet they can't really catch it.
3rd and 8. Faulk is a heck of a receiver. Jim Harbaugh not afraid to dump it off to him. Harbaugh in trouble. Tripped up. Eric Curry, the first-round pick of the Buccaneers in '93, makes the stop, and the Colts will have to punt.
Well, that time in 3rd and long, Harbaugh was not able to find a receiver again. You see Santana Dotson getting a double. Curry had come underneath on a twist, was able to fall off for the sack.
Eric Curry had 5 sacks in 10 games a year ago before getting injured. For 3 years at Alabama, he was one of the top sackmen in the NCAA. Ron Stark on the punt. And this will be a touchback. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will bring their offense back onto the field. And they lead it 7-0 now in the backfield, along with Anthony McDowell. That's Jackie Harris in motion. He's the tight end. And again, another flag on the field.
Well, what they were trying to do there was get number 81, Jackie Harris, to a move position. Last week in Chicago, they bracketed him.
Delay of game, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
They bracketed him with a couple of defenders and made sure that they weren't able to get the ball to him. That time they were trying to move him around. You see Erickson trying to move somebody up on the line. He says, hey, wrong way, come here. Harris only here about, this was only his second active game for Tampa Bay, so obviously they're a little bit rusty on that side.
1st and 15 for the Buccaneers. Workman in the backfield with McDowell. Erickson goes to Jackie Harris just across the original line of scrimmage, where he's tackled by Eugene Daniel.
Well, once you saw that on that last play there, Good drop by the quarterback. Right decision. You see a blitz, some guys in his face, but a lot of folks coming to the football. Now, that's Vince Tobin style defense. Vince came in after Buddy Ryan in '86 up in Chicago, played for him for about 6 years. That's his strong suit, is getting people after the football.
That's the end of the first quarter. The Buccaneers will keep the ball when we come back. They lead it.
Maybe I shouldn't have had that third cheeseburger last time.
He's got his own cook and his own driver. Do you have your own cook when you were playing for the Bears?
No, I just hung around fridge a lot, and it was enough for everybody.
Tony Siragusa, number 98, part of this Colts defensive line. One of the question marks going into this season for Indianapolis. Greg Erickson bringing his team up. 2nd and 7 as we start the second quarter. They give to Workman, tripped up by Quentin Coriat. A gain of about 2 on the play.
Well, Big Tony showed that he hadn't lost all of his gas yet. That last time he did a good job hitting into the block, waiting, and then getting off and making a play. You see him, number 98. Well over 300 pounds. Tony has remarkable quickness, Mike, and he can do a lot of good things for you on the line of scrimmage. It's just that sometimes he runs out of steam here. He showed he still had enough.
Ball on the 23-yard line, 3rd and 7. Harris in motion. Flags on the play, and Erickson just heaved that one out of bounds. Illegal motion on the offense. And both these teams, Dan, penalized a lot early.
Illegal motion, number 81 offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
Well, that's the kind of thing that as a coach, Sam Weiss has to believe it cannot happen. Last week they shot themselves in the foot, the thigh, even higher, all day long, and he's getting disgusted, and he has a right to.
Dan Straczynski, number 4, on the punt. He's a hang time specialist. Duell Brewer waiting for the ball for Indianapolis. The Colts making some movement on the line, going to try to block this punt. Didn't get it to turn over. Brewer takes it at the 40. Still on his feet. Gets it to about the 44-yard line. And so Jim Harbaugh will come back on the field with his offense, trying to get something going for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, Harbaugh to put it up. He's got a man. Complete to number 85, Floyd Turner. First down. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Mike, at Cleveland, Vinny Testaverde and the Browns are on the board. A little play action and a 1-yard touchdown pass to Walter Reeves. With the extra point kicked, the Browns lead the Steelers 7-0 first quarter. Mike and Dan, back to you.
19-yard pass play from Harbaugh to Floyd Turner. And this is Mr. Falk. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage. May have gotten 1 on the play. Hardy Nickerson there on the stop.
For only his 2nd game, Marshall Faulk shows so much of the great running backs in the league as far as the vision, the knack of how to stay behind your blocks, wait, have the patience, always find the right hole. Will Wolford, the big left tackle, told us last night, he says, this guy runs just like Thurman Thomas after, in the league 5 years. Amazing.
And he says he runs like Thurman Thomas, only faster, but he is going nowhere on that play. The stop by Santana Dotson, who knocked him out of the ball game in the first quarter on the first play from scrimmage.
Well, Will Wolford, the big left tackle, has been a rock for Indianapolis in the last couple of years since he came over from Buffalo. Here you see him just take Eric Curry and just turn him out of the play. Now that's what you need from every one of your offensive linemen. Then everybody gets to rush for about 500 yards a day.
Colts 1 for 3 so far on third down situations. They're 3rd and 9. Ball's on the 35-yard line. Falk the lone setback. Harbaugh to put it up. Gives it off to Falk. That's a first down. Deep into Tampa Bay territory. stopped at the 17-yard line by Mike Magruder, number 38.
Marshall Faulk in a little middle screen where all he does is basically act like he's going to block and then find a hole and let the quarterback dump it off to him. Now watch this big-time move. Hardy Nickerson, who makes a jillion tackles, has to pick up part of his uniform there, Mike, because I tell you what, Marshall Faulk left him about 10 yards away.
Faulk came out of high school in New Orleans and was recruited by a lot of big schools like Miami to be a defensive back. He wanted to carry the ball, and he is carrying the ball here for the Colts. Tripped up near the 10-yard line. He wanted to carry the ball, and so he went to San Diego State. They gave him the ball, and here he is in the pros. And he is making his mark very early on.
Well, you can see by this graphic that the Colts have been very, very anemic as far as running the football the last 4 years. Now, this is 56 games. They've averaged 75 yards. Last week, 143. Only 9 times have they rushed for over 100. And, of course, 3 rushing TDs by Marshall Faulk last week.
This time it's Potts. Gets near the first down marker. Ted Marchibroda, the 3rd winningest coach in Colt history, behind only Don Shula and Weave Eubank. Some pretty hefty company.
Well, I did some Colts games last year, and it was obvious that they were just so far away as far as the level of personnel talent. Well, this year, Marchibroda said, hey, I've got a lot of guys that I have to be able to compete with the big boys. Now, we not only expect to play well, we really feel we will.
And Potts appears to have the first down. Roosevelt Potts rushed for 711 yards a year ago. That was the 4th highest rookie rushing total in the NFL last year. Faulk came out of the game. Ronald Humphrey was in on that play. And Harbaugh apparently does not like the spot of the ball. It'll be 4th down.
Well, it was third and about, a little bit over a yard. Obviously, they went with a gut play. It didn't get there. I think they're making well, obviously, right now you see in your screen there, Marchibroda calling timeout. I think he wants to think about it just a little bit.
He sent his kicking team on the field, but now he wants to think about it. We'll find out what he does when we come back.
Next week is my 5th wedding anniversary. It's unbelievable how time flies.
Did you get her a present yet?
Yeah, I'm getting her a really nice washer and dryer.
Oh, come on. She'll never forgive you. You can Sabota.
They're going to try the field goal, Dan.
Well, one of the things they did so well last week was score touchdowns. Now, this kind of surprises me in a sense because, you know, you've got that good, strong offensive line. Marchibroda's got a couple of good backs back there, of course. You know, the big banger in Potts and, of course, Marshall Faulk. But still, you know, that was the problem last year. They never really got a lot of touchdowns, and touchdowns are so important to an offensive team. It's almost like they really start strutting around after they score a couple. Now, for them to go ahead and settle for a field goal is surprising to me.
Marchibroda choosing to go with Dean Biasucci in his 10th year with the Colts. Had 26 field goals a year ago, Dan. Pretty reliable kicker.
Well, they only scored 5 TDs in the last half of last season. Now, that's pathetic. We all know that. But they scored 5 in the first half last week. I don't think you can pull your horses back. I think you got to go ahead and let them run, and I would go for it. You know, worst case scenario, if you don't make it, they've still got to go 90 yards against your defense that has played pretty damn well.
Time will now start when I blow the whistle and wind the clock.
The Colts had called a timeout, and so the clock is stopped, and now Gordon McCarter will start the clock again. Biasucci on to kick the field goal. Tampa Bay leads it 7-0. Biasucci, longest in NFL history, behind a couple of guys named Stenerud and Wilson, who were in Kansas City for so many years. The kick is up. It is good, and points on the board for Indianapolis. The Colts come away with 3, but the Buccaneers will get the ball, and they still have the lead.
Town bully, not the neighbor's doormat, and I think you've got to keep that attitude going, and once you start settling for field goals, it's kind of a hush goes over the crowd.
The Asuchi to kick off for Indianapolis. Back for Tampa Bay, Vernon Turner, number 30. Number 26 is Roderick Green. Green is the fastest player on this Bucs squad. And it's taken by the up back. Gets it across the 36-yard line. Brad Culpepper.
The guy is a star.
13 yards. Culpepper having quite an afternoon.
I tell you what, regular Tasmanian devil here in the first half.
Tampa Bay has never, in their history, returned a kickoff or a punt for a touchdown. That's an amazing statistic.
Well, Sam Weiss says he feels like he's got the personnel this year to turn that around. And yesterday, talking with him, he said, hey, this is easily my most talented team. Now, opening drive, they go for 7, but since then, they've been off track.
Bucs lead at 7-3. Ty J. Armstrong into the game for the Buccaneers. They give to Eric Rett. Tripped up. Gets about 1 yard on the play, and Quentin Corriott there on the stop. Corriott is a guy with a lot of confidence. They moved him from inside linebacker to outside linebacker. And he's really a guy who feels he belongs in the Pro Bowl. He feels he's one of the best in the league.
Well, Vince Tobin, the defensive coordinator, said he compares him favorably with Otis Wilson, a guy who made the Pro Bowl with us in Chicago, and he's got probably more ability than Otis. He just needs an opportunity to develop it. He likes it on the outside.
That's pretty fair company. Jackie Harris, number 81, back into the game for Tampa Bay. He's the tight end. The give to Rett. Trying to turn it outside. He is hammered by Devon McDonald. Number 57, McDonald. A 3-year starter at Notre Dame. 4th-round pick in '93.
Well, Devon McDonald has really settled in on that strong side linebacker position. Here you see him playing tag with the tight end Harris. He basically makes a great adjustment, comes out there and unloads. Now, you know, they drafted Trev Alberts, the 5th pick in the 1st round, to play that position. When he hurt his elbow, Devon McDonald has come in and made everybody forget about it.
Buccaneers are 3 for 4 in 3rd down conversions. It is 3rd and 10. Erickson. He's got his man Hawkins. 1st down, Tampa Bay.
The more I see Craig Erickson, the more I'm impressed by this kid. I'll tell you what, for a 3rd-year player, he plays like about an 8- or 9-year vet, and I guess a lot of that was rubbed off by the fact that his rookie year, Steve DeBerg was there. And I tell you what, some interesting habits were formed by his being around and associated with DeBerg.
Erickson said that he used to play golf on Tuesdays, and then he saw Steve DeBerg, a veteran who had been in the NFL for 100 years, looking at film on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. And that's what Erickson does now, a real student of the game. Ty J. Armstrong in motion.
All rookies play golf on Tuesday. I mean, that's a given. That's part of the contract.
They barely got that one off. 2-yard gain by Eric Rett. Bernard Whittington and Thomas Sims into the game for the Colts, and they make the stop. This Eric Rett kid, out of the University of Florida, rushed for more yards than Emmitt Smith at Florida. He had 1 more year. But they were pretty much in a passing offense, not a running offense, while Rett was there.
He said he doesn't really, he says, I don't know how I got 4,000 yards. We threw the ball every time.
2nd and 8. Wilson in motion. Again, it is Rett. Gets to about the 46-yard line. Sims again on the tackle.
Now, Eric Rett is a guy that Tampa Bay is excited about because he gives them so much as far as his ability to make the tough yards. Now, here you'll see him cutting back against the grain, which when you start making those cutbacks, you're going to catch a lot of helmets. And Eric Rett, who won some titles as a wrestler in the AAU sanction, he says, hey, that is the toughest thing in the world. Running the football is second to that. That was 6 minutes of hell. He's a tough guy.
Former state champion, former AAU national champion in wrestling is Eric Rett. On the pass, across the 45, knocked out of bounds by Damon Watts, the rookie out of IU.
Well, that was a big series for Indianapolis. Tampa Bay had turned around and started putting something together, and of course Sam Weiss says, you know, we've got to throw that ball down the field. You can't take the easy ones every time, and that's something that he really wants his offense to start working on, getting the ball stretched down to the field and push the defense.
Joel Brewer to receive the punt for the Colts. He was on the Bears practice squad a year ago. Gained over 2,000 yards in college at the University of Oklahoma. Straczynski to punt. Bearcats called. And the Colts will take over at the 11-yard line. A 33-yard punt. Indianapolis gets the ball, still trailing.
You're deep in REM sleep, dreaming the big dreams. Because as Freud said, all men are great in their dreams.
4:59 to go. Potts in motion. They give to Falk. Gets about 5 yards on the play. Stopped by number 23, Marty Carter. Fourth-year man out of Middle Tennessee State.
Well, last year, the Colts never had anybody they really believed in when they handed the ball off. But this year, obviously, it's a new story. And Marshall Falk told us yesterday, he says, you know, I break big runs, but the ones I'm most proud about are those 6 and 8 and 10-yarders, those bangers. And that right there is what will get you into a championship-type football team.
And we asked him which way he'd like to go, left or right. He said, I like to go up the middle. And Roosevelt Potts goes up the middle, gets to the 20-yard line. It'll be third down and a couple.
Well, I tell you, there's so much more talent on this Colt team than the last couple of years, and there's so much more expectation. You know, when you've got an all-pro left tackle, a center that you can really count on to be a real force in the middle, a couple of good backs, a winning quarterback, some speed on the outside. They're putting it together.
Third down, Marshall Falk on the carry. And he went his favorite way, up the middle. Nickerson and Everett on the stop. We should talk about this Tampa Bay defense. They were outstanding last week against Chicago, especially in the third quarter. Made a couple of mistakes. That's why they lost the ball game. And here they're trying to stop Marshall Falk, and they've got the Colts shut out on the scoreboard. Remember, a week ago, this Colts team scored 45 points. First and 10. Ball on the 25-yard line. Clock is running. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first half. Harbaugh has some time. Falk. Pick up of about 4.
Well, that's a pretty interesting play there in the sense that Marshall Falk is just finding a little place in the middle of that zone as an outlet. Now, later in the game, I expect they'll fake it to him, and he'll whirl and turn up the field and get it when he gets in isolation on the linebacker. Now, that's the thing that Marshall Falk can bring to the table. Not only is he a great athlete as far as carrying the ball, but he's a great and gifted receiver, too.
Second down and 6. Falk going to take a breather. Lamont Warren, he wears number 21 to the ball game. Along with Roosevelt Potts. Pass is complete. Lamont Warren, the rookie out of Colorado. Dan, I saw him play in college, and he may be a diamond in the rough, a 6th-round pick. He's going to be in the shadow of Marshall Falk, but he can play.
Indianapolis has got an awful lot of talent on that offense that they haven't had in a number of years. It's just how you're going to implement it.
Third down and 1. Coming up to the 2-minute mark. And the whistle blows, meaning the 2-minute warning. So Jim Harbaugh will talk it over with his coach Ted Marchibroda. 3rd and 1. For the Colts quarterback, as they say. But Ted Marchibroda believes he's a quarterback who can take this franchise to victory.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had great confidence in Jim Harbaugh in Chicago. Now, a lot of things happened over the last couple of years. He lost a lot of gifted players around him. Erickson went south, his line deteriorated, and a lot of pressure was placed on him, and he lost a little confidence. Well, the Colts are giving him an opportunity to get it back, and he has.
3rd and 1. That is Marshall Falk. Across the 50. Knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line, and he breaks off a big one.
Ted Marchibroda says we finally have a home run hitter. Look at Wolford just burying the left defensive end, and here Marshall Falk off to the races.
A 30-yard gain for the rookie out of San Diego State. What a find he is. 76 yards here in the first half. Had 143 yards rushing last week. Comes out of the ball game, takes a little breather. It is hot here. Ronald Humphrey now into the game for Indianapolis.
Well, I'm not a genius. They ranked last in the league in rushing last year. They won't this year.
First and 10. The reverse. Floyd Turner. And this will go for a loss of about 6 yards. Martin Mayhew on the stop. That fooled nobody.
Well, I think they call it down way back at the 47. Eric Curry, the right defensive end, smelt the reverse, got upfield, and hung on long enough to have it called dead.
The Tampa Bay defense really has been impressive today. Falk has been able to break off a couple, but they were not fooled here.
Well, you saw Marshall Falk leave the field. Now, that's a good time to run a reverse when he's on it, not off of it. Make everybody pursue.
Second and 22. Harbaugh to throw. It is incomplete. Sean Dawkins made the catch, but he was out of bounds. And the Buccaneers defense gets an ovation from these Tampa Bay fans.
Well, Dawkins and Floyd Turner, the other wide receiver, was at the same spot at the same time. Now, that's obviously incorrect. A little bit of confusion. But you see Marshall Falk back in. It's a pretty easy decision. Give it to this guy and see what he can do.
Dawkins, Shannon Baker into the ball game along with Floyd Turner. Passing situation, 3rd and 22, a minute to go in the first half. Harbaugh dumps it off to Falk, and he'll just run it out of bounds. And the Colts will have to punt the ball. Mike Magruder makes the stop.
Well, Tampa Bay's defense, which looked like it was starting to give up a little bit, rose up and made a couple of big plays and got the Colts stopped here right before halftime, which is very important for them to go in with the lead because this is a team that has to keep its confidence up. Last week, outplayed the Bears and lost. Well, it's important to make sure they don't do anything that just, makes them deflate early.
And there's their leader on defense, number 56, Hardy Nickerson, the all-pro middle linebacker. Vernon Turner was back to receive. That'll be a touchback. And Tampa Bay will take over with 46 seconds to go. The Buccaneers had an early touchdown. A long pass from Craig Erickson to Charles Wilson. That's their only score of the game. Indianapolis has a Dean Biasucci field goal, and so we stand with 46 in hand. Erickson was real happy to have him back in the lineup. A lot of drops last week, Dan, by the Buccaneers, and Hawkins is a more experienced receiver, someone Erickson can count on. Some movement on the line, and the whistle blows with 43 seconds to go in the half.
Charge timeout. Indianapolis, number 1. 40-second timeout.
Well, I guess before the play, the Colts had called a timeout. Earlier, we thought the Colts had called a timeout, but it was ruled an official's timeout. There was some confusion on the field, so that is the Colts' first timeout of the first half. Craig Erickson, originally drafted by the Eagles, couldn't sign with them, drafted again, and he wasn't too happy when the Buccaneers decided to draft Trent Dilfer here in '94.
Well, obviously, when you are on a team, you're the current starter, and they draft a guy real high, like they did with Trent Dilfer. I mean, obviously, it kind of offends you. And he says, you know what? I just put that negative energy into a positive attitude, and I think he's made some big strides this year, and he's a better player because he's pushed himself. And Sam Weiss says, this guy, obviously, he's not a Boomer Esiason, but he's a guy we can win with, and he does an awful lot of good things for this team.
First and 10 for the Buccaneers. Erickson brings him to the line. 46 seconds to go in the first half. The Bucs looking for their first win of the year. That's Jackie Harris, the tight end, his first reception of the day. And they say he stepped out of bounds.
Well, it's kind of interesting. They go out and they sign Jackie Harris and make him the highest paid tight end, highest guy in his position in the league. and it's almost like they feel such an effort or a pressure to put him into the game plan that they're almost kind of cutting off their nose and smiting their face, because it's almost like they're contriving the offense around him, and I think he will be a great asset, but they've got to let the offense go ahead and thrive under, all the other talent that's here.
Only 3 receptions last week against the Chicago Bears. 37 seconds to go now in the first half. Erickson to put it up. Again, he was looking for Harris, who was double covered, so he throws downfield to Hawkins. Out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Ashley Ambrose knocked him out. Erickson to Courtney Hawkins, a 31-yard gain.
Well, one of the great things that Courtney Hawkins can do for you is give you great effort. We know he's a great receiver. He's got super strong hands. Here, Erickson's in trouble. A lot of receivers stand there and watch a quarterback run for his life. No, Hawkins finds a way to get open, comes across the field, makes a big play.
Buccaneers on the move. 27 seconds to go in the half. Erickson has time. Looking. Dave Moore nearly came up with it. Dave Moore, number 83. Quentin Corriett had him covered. Check that. That was McDowell, Anthony McDowell, number 33, the fullback, who nearly came up with that catch.
You'll see number 85, Courtney Hawkins here. He's running a little streak pattern, a post pattern in the middle field. He just breaks it off and says, hey, come on, get it here. That's great adjustment by receiver and quarterback.
Second down and 10. Ball on the 43-yard line. Buccaneers lead the Colts 7-3. 20 seconds to go. And Erickson, the quick hitter, Willie Green, across the 30. And another first down.
Man, that's kind of had shades of Jerry Rice on it there. You see number 82 in the slot position right here. He sees a safety blitz. He just follows him inside because he knows there's no one in that hole. Again, great side adjustment by receiver and quarterback.
And a timeout called by Tampa Bay with 13 seconds to go in the first half. This is a more confident Buccaneer team than we have seen in the past. Sam Weiss says we're right on schedule. This is his 3rd year. When he was in Cincinnati, it took him 5 years to get the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Buccaneers are not a team ready to go to the Super Bowl, but they're improving every year.
Well, more than just improvement, he really feels like his talent level, it gives him a chance to go out and play with the big guys each and every week. These two teams are very similar in the fact that they really have upgraded themselves in talent and personnel, and now it's just a matter of making sure everyone is on the same page. There, last week, 3 or 4 drops, a couple of interceptions, a bad penalty here and there, kept them from being 1-0 after beating the Bears. It didn't work out. He's not going to let it happen this week because Craig Erickson is making some good decisions at quarterback.
15-yard gain for the Buccaneers. 1st and 10. Erickson again to the airways. Looking, Wilson, touchdown. No, he dropped the ball.
Exactly what happened last week. Another drop. Those are the things that will make the coaches pull out what hair they have left.
Charles Wilson, who caught the touchdown pass earlier, could not hang on to that one, but he had Ashley Ambrose beat.
Here you'll see him just run a corner pattern. Has Ambrose beat, it's just a pure drop. And in the NFL, that's unacceptable.
Craig Erickson has felt that frustration before. A 47-yard field goal attempt now with 6 seconds to go in the half. Michael Husted, 3 for 4 last week. This one is up. It is good. And so the Buccaneers get on the board again. They lead it by the score of 10-3 at the half. Now let's go to New York with 10-3. Buccaneers thought they could run the ball, were able to run it a little early, but they've opened up that passing game. Falk also has 3 catches for 24 yards. 10-3, the Bucs lead the Indianapolis Colts. Tampa Bay looking for their first win. They lost last week in Chicago, 21-9. Dean Biasucci will kick it off.
Well, traditionally, Tampa Bay's attitude is if they are even or ahead at halftime, they really feel like they have a great chance of winning because their friend and ally, the Heat, will also start wearing down the opponent in the third and fourth quarter. Now, Indianapolis, you know, they know that, and so far it seems like this game has been played to be close at half, and then we're going to see something happen in the second.
Indianapolis coming off their victory a week ago. An impressive win at home against Houston, 45-21, but it's a whole new day. And the kick goes to Vernon Turner across the 20-yard line, and he's tackled there at about the 22. A 14-yard kickoff return for Turner. And the second half underway here in Tampa. Craig Erickson leading his troops onto the field. Erickson is a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He was growing up. Had Terry Bradshaw-like numbers in the first half, but really Bradshaw is not his idol. His idol was Jack Lambert.
I always like quarterbacks who like defensive guys. They like them until they hit them.
The pitch to Workman. Vince Workman back into the game. Can only pick up a couple. You know, the Colts defensively were 28th in almost every category in the NFL last year, but they've been able to stop the Tampa Bay run today thanks to some great playing by guys like number 57 there, Devon McDonald.
Well, it's really the Tony show up front. The two tackles, Tony Siragusa, Tony McCoy, and the end, Tony Bennett. They've made an awful lot of good things happen. The first weekend, of course, the first half, they've controlled the run, and that's Vince Tobin's philosophy. Stop the run, force them to pass, and then get your quarterback on the ground.
I.J. Armstrong in motion. The give to Eric Rett. He's going nowhere. Tony Siragusa on the stop. Big Tony Siragusa. The Thundering Herd fan club in Indianapolis. Siragusa with 10. Buccaneers thought they could run the ball. Were able to run it a little early, but they've opened up that passing game. Falk also has 3 catches for 24 yards. 10-3, the Bucs lead the Indianapolis Colts. Tampa Bay looking for their first win. They lost last week in Chicago, 21-9. Dean Biasucci will kick it off.
Well, traditionally, Tampa Bay's attitude is if they are even or ahead at halftime, they really feel like they have a great chance of winning because their friend and ally, the Heat, will also start wearing down the opponent in the third and fourth quarter. Now, Indianapolis, you know, they know that, and so far it seems like this game has been played to be close at half, and then we're going to see something happen in the second.
Indianapolis coming off their victory a week ago. An impressive win at home against Houston, 45-21, but it's a whole new day. And the kick goes to Vernon Turner across the 20-yard line, and he's tackled there at about the 22. A 14-yard kickoff return for Turner. And the second half underway here in Tampa. Craig Erickson leading his troops onto the field. Erickson is a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He was growing up. Had Terry Bradshaw-like numbers in the first half, but really Bradshaw is not his idol. His idol was Jack Lambert.
I always like quarterbacks who like defensive guys. They like them until they hit them.
The pitch to Workman. Vince Workman back into the game. Can only pick up a couple. You know, the Colts defensively were 28th in almost every category in the NFL last year, but they've been able to stop the Tampa Bay run today thanks to some great playing by guys like number 57 there, Devon McDonald.
Well, it's really the Tony show up front. The two tackles, Tony Siragusa, Tony McCoy, and the end, Tony Bennett. They've made an awful lot of good things happen. The first weekend, of course, the first half, they've controlled the run, and that's Vince Tobin's philosophy. Stop the run, force them to pass, and then get your quarterback on the ground.
I.J. Armstrong in motion. The give to Eric Rett. He's going nowhere. Tony Siragusa on the stop. Big Tony Siragusa. The Thundering Herd fan club in Indianapolis. Siragusa was named the hard-nosed player of the year a year ago.
He's almost like football's answer to a John Belushi character. Bill Tobin told me yesterday, just a cut up in the locker room, a guy that, you know, he said could have fit in with the great teams that we had up in Chicago. a guy that takes no prisoners and also takes home a few meals to go, it looks like.
Hawkins and Wilson, the wideouts for Tampa Bay. Lone setback, Erickson again rolling out. This is work for him. Courtney Hawkins complete, and they say his feet were out of bounds. An incomplete pass, Erickson to Courtney Hawkins, and the Buccaneers on their first possession of the second half will have to punt it off.
Erickson has been forced to his right on about 5 different plays. That time he threw it a little bit behind Hawkins, and yet, you know, they still have a chance to get those completions. And so far, it looks like the left end, John Hand, has not been able to keep Erickson in the pocket. And that's something that, you know, as the game wears on, you don't want those big guys having to chase him all over the field. Erickson really working on the right side against number 33, Ashley Ambrose, who's been beaten several times today. Duell Brewer is back for the Colts. And against Krasinski, trying to get it to turn over. Brewer's got it at the 32. Backs up. And he might make it back to the 32-yard line. A 48-yard kick by Dan Krasinski. Dave Moore on the tackle. And the Colts will come out offensively for the first time here in the second half. We talked about Marshall Faulk, 11 carries, 75 yards in the first half. He is the real thing. With all due respect to Coca-Cola, he is the real thing, Marshall Faulk. Well, he's the guy that will carry this offense, but of course, you got to give some credit to the offensive line. And of course, Jim Harbaugh threw only 8 times and completed 6, so he's doing his job too. They just haven't got it in the end zone. Ronald Humphrey in for Faulk to start the second half, and he picks up about 3 yards on the play. Lonnie Martz on the stop. Martz, number 55. He came over from Kansas City, made some big plays in his days with the Chiefs, a free agent. Well, last year they ranked 22nd in the league in defense. They were better rushing the passer and stopping the pass than the rush. And, you know, it's obvious. Marshall Faulk has over 80 yards already. 2nd and 5. Pops in motion. The give to Humphrey. And he picks up about 3 yards. There's Marshall Faulk, who is still in the locker room. It looks like they put some kind of either a super-duper tape job or some kind of a flexible cast on that wrist. If you weren't with us when we started the ball game, first play from scrimmage, Faulk was hit hard by Santana Dotson and appeared to hurt his left hand and came out of the game. And there was another player injured. Looks like number 27, Barney Bussey.
This is one long game. They even ran out of food. The fans must be hungry.
For the Colts, their first possession of the second half. Trying to make something happen. And it's the give to Marshall Faulk. Bounces off a couple of tackles. Gets near the first down marker, but I don't think he made it, Dan. Excellent second effort is the only thing that even gets him close to a measurement. Number 72, Chidi Ahanatu, made a great move coming inside, hitting Faulk, but Faulk wouldn't go down, spun back to the inside and almost picked up the first down. He looks like he's probably about 2.5, 3 feet short. And here comes the punting team onto the field for Ted Marchabroda. The Tampa Bay defense has made the big plays when they've had to. They really have, and that was especially big because the weak side hybrid linebacker, Bussey, was off the field due to injury. They had to bring in Jeff Brady, another outside linebacker, and, you know, I don't think there's any question who they were going to give the ball to. Another good stand by Tampa Bay's defense. They were only a couple inches short of that first down. And Ron Stark comes into the game to punt the ball. Stark went to college at Florida State. He's used to this kind of weather, although that was a long time ago. Stark is a pilot. And that one was airborne, and there'll be a touchback. And the Buccaneers will take over. They've got the lead, 10-3, and they've got the ball. They played pretty well early, but then when they went for the field goal instead of the first down on the 9, it's almost like they pulled their teeth. 1st and 10 for the Buccaneers. They've been moving the ball offensively, putting it in the air. Little screen pass. The number 33, Anthony McDowell. And Sam Weiss. In his third season here in Tampa Bay, a lot more confident. He thinks the Buccaneers are going to surprise some people here in 1994.
Well, he said, a lot of people don't realize that we've gotten a lot closer to the competition. We've made some big strides, but it's really hadn't been blasted across the league. He says that he's expecting his team to do that.
And that's fine with him, by the way. He'd like to sneak up on a few people. Erickson. He threw out. Charles Wilson went in. A flag on the play. Ashley Ambrose was on the coverage. They have thrown it his way a dozen times today.
Well, one of the reasons they are trying to work on that right side is because on the other side, Eugene Daniel is playing about as well as any cornerback in the league. Bill Tobin, the
Holding, number 34, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That call actually against number 34, Ray Buchanan, the second-year man out of Louisville.
But again, they might as well get used to it because, again, Eugene Daniels playing so well on the other side. I know in Chicago, Donnell Wolford is a great corner on one side. Well, Lincoln, the other guy, gets an awful lot of traffic because they don't want to go to the other side.
First and 10. Ball's on the 26-yard line. Buccaneers leading 10-3. They give to Rex. Tony Siragusa. No, that was play action. He fooled even me. Courtney Hawkins on the catch across the 50-yard line and into Colt territory. We are way up top this Tampa Bay Stadium, and boy, he can fool you from up here.
Very nice fake there. The entire defensive front of the Colts stops rushing the passer and goes for the bunt. There, Hawkins, who has almost come into the game quietly and is going to go out almost maybe the hero, he has become the home run guy that Tampa Bay has went to repeatedly in this game. He has been a big addition to this Tampa offense thus far.
Number 61, Tony McCoy, appears to be hurting, and they're going to take him off the field.
Well, here's a guy that played super football for the Colts last week, forced a fumble, got a sack.
48, again, Erickson to throw it. He's got a man. That's Jackie Smith. Touchdown. Jackie Harris. He beat Eugene Daniel.
Jackie Harris is the highest paid tight end in the league because he is so versatile. That time it looks like they moved him on the outside and was able to hit him on a post pattern down the middle.
And the kick is good. Jackie Harris from Greg Erickson. And the Buccaneers lead the Colts here in the third quarter in Tampa. 17-3. And it's Duell Brewer across the 15. There's a flag, a bunch of flags on the play. Brewer stopped inside the 20-yard line, 15-yard return. Laundry all over the field. And Ted Marchibroda again has his Colts backed up here in Tampa.
I think if Tampa Bay could count the third score totals as the final.
Illegal block in the back. Number 49 receiving team during the return. Half the distance, first down.
What I'm trying to get to is I played down here 12 times, and you play hard the first half. You go in the locker room at the half. It's air conditioned. You get kind of sleepy. You come back out here, and all of a sudden, boom, Tampa Bay, who is used to it, always does something to you to score, get some big plays. Let's see how the Colts react when they got their back against the wall.
9:32 to go, third quarter. Harbaugh, play action. Complete to Sean Dawkins. Their first-round draft choice in 1993. 5th in receptions on this team a year ago.
Well, this is the year Sean Dawkins will be asked to become the premier receiver for the Colts. And it's a great position because last year he really didn't get it done. You know, he's a rookie. He held out. He never really played up to expectations. Here he just pushes the corner off, does a square out, Harbaugh throws him the ball. And when you have a running back like Marshall Faulk, those patterns will be open. Dawkins
spent the offseason working out with a guy by the name of Jerry Rice. Ever heard of him? Harbaugh. Over the middle. Complete to Floyd Turner. A pickup of about 5. Hardy Nickerson and Lonnie Marks in on the stop. Looks like a 7-yard game, so it'll be 2nd and 3, ball on the 30. Tony McCoy getting worked on.
He's got a sprained right knee, Mike. It'll be questionable whether or not he will be able to return.
Ball. Gang tackle. Hardy Nickerson leading the Buccaneer defense.
Well, he's the lead dog in the pack, and I tell you what, this guy makes so many plays. You'll see him here. They're just running a blunt series. Well, they give the ball to Faulk deep and let him find a hole. That time there was no hole. Tampa Bay starting to do some things up front to confuse the Colts offensive line.
3rd and 3. Shotgun formation. Harbaugh to Faulk. He makes it across for the first down across that 35-yard line. Good second effort by Marshall Faulk. Coming up next on these NBC stations, the Houston Oilers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Oilers lost to these Colts last week, so they're going to be angry. They're at Texas Stadium, and we'll join them when this game is over. 7:24 to go. First down. Harbaugh staying in the pocket. Gives it out to Faulk. And again, some great coverage. Number 91, Carl Wilson, who was claimed off waivers the last week in August. He started, Dan, for the 49ers last year in the playoffs.
Well, they've got some guys that they move around on that front. Wilson is a guy that can play either end or tackle, and in this heat, you need an awful lot of faces out there because I tell you what, you don't have air conditioning, and after a while, you start running out of gas.
Defensive coordinator Floyd Peters. Call him Sergeant Rock. 6:41 to go in the third quarter. This is Faulk.
Yesterday when we talked with Marshall Faulk, I said, did you ever remember watching a guy named Billy Sims? And his eyes kind of looked at me in a strange way, and he said, Billy Sims, I've heard of him. Well, I'll tell you what, when I was a rookie, I came in the league with Billy Sims, and this reminds me of Billy Sims, who I still think is one of the great all-time backs. Watch that. Waits, has patience, waits for the block to develop, and then, boom, 15, 20 yards right now. This kid is the home run threat they have to have.
24-yard gain by Faulk. They give it to him again. And he gets across the 35-yard line. Thomas Everett on the stop.
Well, that's one thing that Faulk says he prides himself on, is not giving up a big shot. That last time, Thomas Everett rocked him pretty good.
Yeah, we asked him the last time that he thought he took a big hit. A big hit. And he said maybe in high school when he was a receiver.
That's pretty good. I tell you what, the great ones stay out of it the way of the missiles.
2nd down and 3. Roosevelt pops. May have picked up the first down. You can see the arithmetic. Marshall Faulk again over the 100-yard barrier. And he can catch the ball. This is a complete football player.
He really is. And of course, you know, you can't just put him out there behind any offensive line or with you know, a quarterback that can't get it done. But I tell you what, he gives them a chance in every football game. And Sam Weiss said yesterday, hey, look, we just saw enough of him on film to scare us to death.
3rd down and 1. That's Marshall. check that. Ronald Humphrey into the game. And a first down for the Colts. Hardy Nickerson on the stop. On those third and short situations, Roosevelt Potts will lead the way and try to pop a hole for Ronald Humphrey, and Humphrey gets the first down.
Well, this is pretty impressive. They were just scored on. They had a penalty on the kickoff. They started on their own 8, and now they've driven it all the way down to the 29-yard line. And this is what the Colts did last week. They ran the ball, were able to throw it. And this is what they have to do to get back in this game.
Harbaugh going to talk it over with Ted Marchibroda. Colts on the move and in Tampa Bay.
Came in from Buffalo. A lot of people says, you know, I don't know if he's worth it. Believe me, he's earning his money today, and he is worth every cent of it, especially the Harbaugh team.
He does the work of a horse. Also has 5 horses at Churchill Downs. He's a proud owner. Dawkins getting across the 10-yard line. Sean Dawkins having a fine afternoon. Sort of a disappointment a year ago. 21-yard gain for Dawkins.
Well, what they do here is do the little hitch. Dawkins pushes this guy out, come back. Now watch, number 67, Wolford, come all the way out from left tackle and cut the corner to Springer.
First and 8. Falk and Potts in the backfield. Harbaugh, they give to Potts. Touchdown, Colts.
Well, I think the Colts are serving notice. Hey, we're showing up with a real live offense, one that can throw, or more importantly, we can hang our hat on a run. Here, Loudermilk in the center does a great job on the nose tackle, spring the inside gut trap there. Potts has a walk-in.
The first NFL touchdown for Roosevelt Potts, who really is in a much different role than he was a year ago. He was supposed to be the Marshall Faulk of the Colts last year. Of course, he didn't get the ball as often as Faulk will get it, but he was the rookie running back. And the kick is good. And the Indianapolis Colts very much alive in this ball game here in Tampa. Roosevelt Potts goes in for the score, and the Colts now trail the Bucs by only a touchdown.
Back in it, you can see that they're excited about it again. And I tell you what, I always like being around excited people, and it looks like Ted Marchibroda got a little excited on that last drive himself.
It has really given the Colts a lift. You can see the difference on the sidelines, and there's Sam Weish hoping his Buccaneers can continue moving the ball on offense. They've had quite a passing game today. Last week they were running exclusively against the Chicago Bears. And today, Craig Erickson leading their passing game. Vernon Turner gets across the 25-yard line, where he is gang tackled there. Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel for an NFL update.
All right, Mike, at Foxborough, Jim Kelly.
They roared back with a touchdown. Plenty of time to go. 3:31 in the third quarter. Bucs now on offense. And this is Aaron Brett, the rookie out of Florida. Picks up about 2 yards. Derwin Gray and Jeff Harrod on the stop. You really like Harrod.
Well, I think he's the guy that makes Indianapolis' defense go. You know, Tony Bennett has been an impact guy, an instant impact player, but Jeff Harrod has always been one of my favorite players to watch. Here you'll see him in the middle of your screen, number 54. Great middle linebackers show up every play. They're always around the ball. Here you see him take on the fullbacks, cut block, and still make the play for about a 2-yard gain. That puts you in the Pro Bowl.
Second down for the Buccaneers. They have not been able to run the ball consistently, so they will throw it. Erickson, he's got some room. He's going to take it and head to the sideline. Run out of bounds by Devon McDonald. Erickson has rolled right all game long. He's had some room on the right side, but nobody was open. Good coverage by that Colt defense.
It has been, and that's, you know, those aren't designed roles. He's just trying to get away from pressure, and again, good coverage by the Colts defensive secondary and linebackers.
Sam Weiss.
A lot of things has been made about how complex Tampa Bay's offense is, but more than anything else, it's just a lot of adjustments that quarterbacks have to know. And Erickson's done a decent job of getting it done, but not as sharp as he has been.
Weiss once tutored Joe Montana, now tutoring Craig Erickson. Completes the pass to Eric Rett, but the Buccaneers will have to punt the ball as the Colts defense stood the test. Damon Watts, the rookie in Indianapolis. Kidd on the stop.
Well, for, I don't know, maybe the last 3 or 4 times on third down, he has opted to go with the swing to the fullback or the tailback out of the backfield, and you've got to go ahead and take a chance and try to push the ball down the field. Again, you see Sam Weiss saying, hey, you've got to take a chance once in a while.
Dan Straczynski. Well, Brewer fumbles, picks it up again, and he is going nowhere. The most important thing for him, though, he was able to hold on to that football. A 45-yard punt for Straczynski. Coming up next.
Well, the whole week. Houston will be ready.
Falk and Potts. Your backfield for the Colts. Play action. Harbaugh has some time. Pass is complete. Should be a first down. Floyd Turner on the catch. Knocked out of bounds by Martin Mayhew. Turner could turn out to be a great addition to this Colts offense.
Well, he's got some great speed that he can bring to the field, but more than that, they feel like he's a guy that can really be an influence on Sean Dawkins. They roomed him with him at training camp, and Mark Broder said, hey, it really seems like it helped him an awful lot.
45 seconds to go, third quarter. Harbaugh again runs out of the pocket, and he slides safely into the 41-yard line.
One of the great things Jim Harbaugh can do for you as an offense is avoid the big error. In Chicago, he was asked to do so much, basically carry the entire offense, that he had so much pressure on him, he never was able to really thrive. In this offense, with the talent they have around him, I look for big things out of Jim Harbaugh. Right there, he didn't try to force the ball. He took it down and made about 6 yards on a quick scramble.
That's the time in the third quarter. Marshall Falk tripped up, no gain. That's the end of the third quarter. Buccaneers lead the Colts 17-10, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Harbaugh. Complete. That's Shannon Baker. He rolled off for the first down at midfield. Martin Mayhew made the stop.
Tell you what, that's big time play for Indianapolis. Here, you'll see Marshall Falk helping out with a block there. But Baker comes across the middle and spins off of a tackle and goes for the first. Now, that's something that is bigger than just a first down. It keeps the Tampa Bay defense on the field, and, of course, they got to chase Marshall Falk.
Shannon Baker went to Florida State. And Falk with the carry may have picked up 2 or 3, and heads were rolling. Artie Nickerson lost his helmet.
Did you see the shot that Falk took from Nickerson? Knocked his helmet off. And let me tell you, this is a tough guy. He is, you know what? He's embarrassed. That's how much pride he has. He is so embarrassed that his helmet come off and not the running back. Watch Artie field right here. Boom! I mean, that is tremendous play by a middle linebacker.
Artie Nickerson's so tough, I think he'd rather play without the helmet. 13:40 to go. And movement on that offensive line, flags all over the place. Dan, last week NFL teams averaged, it was about 50 points a game?
12 starts before the snap, 67 offense, 5 yards, still second down.
That was the big left tackle, Will Wolford. It looked like Bussey was trying to fake a blitz off the corner, and he got him a little jumpy here. You can see the stats. Of course, the dominant figure is the rushing yards of the Colts. Again, they've shown up with an NFC-type running game.
Harbaugh to put it up. He's in trouble, forced out of the pocket. Gets across midfield into Buccaneer territory. Stopped there. I mentioned, Dan, that last week NFL teams averaged nearly 50 points a game. We have a 17-10 score here. What do you think of some of these new rules in the National Football League trying to produce more offense?
Well, I think with the sophistication of the defense and the defensive players and the schemes, you know, they're trying to give the offense a chance to score more points. But let me tell you something. No matter what you do, if the defense plays inspired, it's hard to block everybody and keep them from making plays.
Harbaugh gets it off, knocked away. Intended for Kerry Cash. Thomas Everett was there to make the play, and so was Marty Carter, who was still down.
Well, I don't know what Floyd Peters said to his defensive players, but I tell you what, they are striking people out here. They're even hurting each other.
Everett and Carter ran into each other, and that is Marty Carter on the field. We'll check on his condition when we come.
You saw the corner making such a great move at the ball, crashed into Marty Carter. Carter had to be helped from the field.
Ron Stark with the punt. Flags on the field. That'll go for a touchback. But there was a flag in the Colts backfield. 12:24 to go. We're in the fourth quarter in Tampa Bay, with the Buccaneers leading the Colts 17-10.
You know, one of the things that jump out so far after three quarters in this game is Tampa Bay thus far has been able to avoid those awful mistakes that cost them the game last week.
During the kick, number 47 receiving team. As all the players that touch back will penalize from the 20 to the 10.
Okay, self-explanatory there. They're bringing it back a little bit on Tampa. But the point is, you know, Sam says, you know, I've got the talent if I can afford the interceptions, the drop touchdown passes. And really the only glaring weakness thus far was the one drop by Green in the corner of the end zone. Other than that, they've played pretty smart, aggressive football.
We'll look at number 47, John Lynch. Lynch called for holding. Lynch is also, by the way, a baseball prospect. Played in the Florida Marlins organization. That's when they were playing baseball. Erickson to give on play action. And that's Jackie Harris across midfield. Flags all over the field now. Play action, Erickson to Jackie Harris. A 48-yard pickup for Tampa Bay.
Well, if there's been any question of why Tampa Bay wanted to acquire Jackie Harris, you know why now. The guy has big game breaker written all over it.
Illegal block in the back, number 85 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That backs Tampa Bay back up into their own territory.
85, Courtney Hawkins, you'll see him here coming out, chasing Harbaugh, takes a shot behind. Now, you've got to have your head across the sternum. That time it hit him on the backside of the shoulder pad. Now, although it wasn't, you know, something that'll put somebody in a hospital, those are the type of plays that you really don't want to see from your receivers. You should have tried to get in front screening. Cost them about 30 yards there with that penalty.
Still a first down from the 35-yard line for the Buccaneers. We're in the fourth quarter. Erickson comes this way. McDowell across the 40. Tackled there by Quentin Coriac.
A lot of misdirection here by Tampa Bay. The bootlegs, the counters, the rollouts, the throwbacks. What they're capitalizing on now is conditioning. Making the Indianapolis Colts defensive players run and protect the entire field.
Sam Weiss says to his guys, we need vision. Vision is his watchword. Think about what it's like to win. Think about sellout stadiums. Have a vision of the future in Tampa Bay. And part of that future will be Eric Rett, and he gets near the first down marker.
Well, thus far, Tony Bennett, the guy that made so many big plays for the Colts last week, has been unheard of. And I guess the reason is because Paul Gruber, the very fine left tackle for Tampa Bay, has done a good job on him as far as keeping him away from the quarterback and especially on the running game. You know, Tony Bennett is the guy that has to make the big impact over there, and thus far we haven't really called his name much.
Some big numbers for Craig Erickson today. 2 touchdown passes, 263 yards in the air. That's Ty J. Armstrong in motion, broken play, and whistles immediately.
Delay of game, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
The Buccaneers continuing to have problems
Again,
with mistakes like that.
Well, they go from 3rd and inches to 3rd and almost 6, and what was a perfect opportunity to do what they had designed. It was a fake inside, and Erickson was going to raise up and pop at somebody, knowing on 4th down and more than likely would get it. Now they're in another 3rd and long situation.
3rd and 6. The ball's on the 39-yard line. 10 minutes and 6 seconds to play. We're in the 4th quarter in Tampa. Erickson, the passer. That's Vince Workman to the 31-yard line of Indianapolis, stopped by Damon Watt.
Another good call by Sam Weiss. Make Indianapolis defend the entire field. Everything in the middle is bunched up. Hey, he's one-on-one on the outside. Someone has turned him loose. Workman makes the most of it.
No huddle offense for the Buccaneers. Handoff to Workman. And he may have gained a yard on the play. Running into Tony Siragusa, the 315-pounder out of Pittsburgh. Weiss calls the plays for the Buccaneers. He is the offensive coordinator for this team.
And you can see he still signals in by hand because, you know, he believes that the communication system in the quarterback's helmet is fallible, and he wants to make sure that it never catches him by surprise. This guy is as well prepared for a game as any NFL coach I've ever been around.
2nd down and 8. Again, it's Vince Workman. Turns the corner. Tony Bennett hit him out of bounds at the 30.
Again, the strategy of pitching the ball left, going right, up the middle, making the defense have to cover the entire field is starting to pay dividends. Looking at the Colt players going back to the defensive huddle. Got the tongues hanging out there. And, you know, last week they played in air conditioning where there's no air conditioners out here on this field. And this is where it's going to be a gut check. If Tampa scores on this drive, they're now at the 30-yard line. It could be a blow.
Big play, 3rd and 2. Armstrong in motion.
Pitch back.
It is complete. Number 85. Number 86, Ty J. Armstrong. On the 5-yard line. A 25-yard pass play.
Twice today, they've used misdirection plays by the tight end. Watch number 86 right there in the center of your screen. He fakes like he's blocking. They do the old flicker. Then he makes a great adjustment back to the football. He's pretty well covered. Just a duck of a pass, and yet Armstrong makes such a great adjustment back. 1st and 10 at the 5. Tampa Bay was victimized twice by those plays last week at the Bears.
1st and 5 from the 5. Siragusa on the stop.
Last week, Chris Gedney of the Bears goes for the kill shot on the Bucks with that tight end block down fake and then turn it up. Well, twice today, once to Harris and then another one to Armstrong. It's paid big.
7:18 to go. That's Bernard Whittington out of Indiana University. The Buccaneers lead the Colts 17-10. We're coming right back. Along with Dan Hampton, I'm Mike Bush at Tampa Stadium. Second down and goal at the 4-yard line for the Buccaneers. They lead the Colts 17-10. The clock is running, just over 7 minutes to play in the ball game. And Erickson could not set his offense, and he calls a timeout.
Large timeout. Tampa Bay, number 1.
That was a case of tit for tat. Erickson saw the linebackers inside on a blitz. He checks out. The linebackers check back to a natural defense. They ran out of time. When it gets down to the goal line, it becomes very much a cat and mouse game. And again, this isn't that complex of an offense. Sam White says the real key is having a quarterback know what to go for and what to try to take. That time, the double checking system by the Colts coming back put him into a timeout situation.
Coming up next on these NBC stations, the battle for Texas, the Oilers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Oilers coming off that horrendous loss a week ago to these Indianapolis Colts. They lost in Indianapolis 45-21. So they're going to come into that game at Texas Stadium angry.
Well, you know, I was talking to a guy. He asked me what I thought about Dallas. I said, I don't think that Barry Switzer will have any problem filling Jimmy Johnson's shoes. It's keeping Jerry Jones's wine glass full. That's where his problems are.
Second down and goal. Buccaneers at the 4-yard line. Erickson, the fake to Rep. Touchdown! Courtney Hawkins.
Again, it was a bootleg that brought him out, got him cleared out. Some confusion in the defensive backfield. Erickson throws a strike for another touchdown.
Husted on for the extra point. And the Buccaneers lead the Colts 24-10. Courtney Hawkins, Greg Erickson's favorite receiver on the CD. They're on their feet here in Tampa, where the Buccaneers have a 24-10 lead. UL Brewer knocked out of bounds. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York for an update. Some work to do. Buccaneers just went 90 yards on 9 plays.
Well, on the last scoring drive, Harbaugh came out throwing, and then they gave the ball to Marshall Faulk. Sounds like a good plan.
Time becomes a factor. They throw to Faulk. Picks up about 7 yards on the play.
But to go back to that touchdown, for some reason, Courtney Hawkins was left all alone in the back of the end zone. Now, when the play started, it looked like 38 Eugene Daniel was on him. And for some reason, either a safety left him alone. It'll be a mystery to everybody until the film comes back tomorrow.
No huddle offense. Complete to Shannon Baker. First down, Indianapolis.
You'll see Indianapolis going with the hurry-up offense. And no, it's got to have 2 touches.
One of the things we talked about with Ted Marchibroda yesterday, he keeps it very simple. Makes it very easy to do this no-huddle offense. The home run ball That's Marshall Faulk, complete. But there is a flag on the play. It appears to be against Tampa Bay.
It looks like one of the defensive linemen popped Harbaugh after the release.
Illegal use of hands. Number 91 defense. Penalty declined. First down.
The penalty on Carl Wilson. The pass complete to Marshall Faulk. 47 yards, just like a wide receiver would do it.
Well, again, when Marchibroda says we needed a home run hitter, I don't think he realized how much, of a stick he got with this kid. He can do it all.
Faulk takes the breather. Lamont Warren in for him. He's number 21, gets the ball. A gain of about 3 on the play. Chidi Ahanatu on the stop. Warren, rookie out of Colorado, comes out. Faulk is back in, and he's lining up as a wide receiver. Cox the lone setback. 5:08 to go. 2nd and 7 for the Colts. Harbaugh forced out of the pocket. Gets across the 10-yard line. He's run out of bounds by Marty Carter. About 2 yards short of the first down.
Well, it'll be 3rd and 2 on about the 8-yard line. They got a Tampa Bay defensive lineman down in the backfield here.
That's Eric Curry. The Bucs' first pick from 1993. He's had some great moments this afternoon.
Well, he has. He's done a pretty good job of putting on the backside pressure on Harbaugh. That time it looked like he tried to come inside of the left tackle, and one of the running backs, maybe Faulk, was inside. They chopped his knee.
The Colts are on the move. Buccaneers lead at 24-10. We'll be back. From Dallas, the Oilers and the Cowboys. And if the Colts can get into the end zone here, we've got a good one in Tampa Bay, but right now the Buccaneers lead at 24-10, 3rd and 1 for Indianapolis.
Well, this is a 2-down chance there. Don't be surprised to see Harbaugh raise up and try to throw something in the end zone, and then, of course, go for the first on 4th.
4:56 to go. 4th quarter. Pop. First down.
Good slant call there. The linebackers were expecting a pass there off the line of scrimmage. Harbaugh audibles to just a slant for the first down. Obviously, they have got to get 7 out of this possession. 4 minutes, 36 seconds left in the game. Harbaugh is the guy that you like to have at the controls. He's been here many, many times.
The 5-yard line. And they'll take it back to the 10. Faulk thrown for a loss.
Lonnie March, number 55. They brought in from Kansas City, and he has such great speed, he's able to force something up the field. You'll see March collapse from the left side. Marshall Faulk's waiting. Down on the goal line, you can't let him pick his hole. You've got to make a hole and let him hit it hard. That time, he was basically kind of skipping sideways. Easy tackle for March for a loss.
2nd and 9. Harbaugh chased out of the pocket, tries to turn it, gets it over the 5 to the 4-yard line. Barney Bussey there to make the stop. The clock is running.
Well, I don't understand that. Harbaugh's back hit out of bounds. Only one knee was down inside. No, I was wrong. He did slide down inbound. That wasn't good call by the officials.
And the call by the Colts is timeout. They want to talk about it. It'll be 3rd down and 4 from the 4-yard line for Jim.
Give it to him twice, I don't know. But if they do give it to him, they've got to have him hit the hole with his head down and not be skipping sideways.
Well, if you're Tampa Bay, you know you're going to look for Faulk. You know you got to be aware of it. And so maybe the Colts go in another direction. 3rd and 4.
That's a pass.
Harbaugh knocked down. Charles Dimley.
You have no idea how great a play Charles Dimley just made. He read the pattern before the receiver could run it. Look at this. He breaks on the ball faster than the receiver does. Now, those are the type of plays in years past Tampa Bay wouldn't make. Now, obviously, Sam Weiss says, hey, I got guys that can play now. Well, they're starting to show it.
The ball game could be right here. 4th and goal. 3:15 to go. Harbaugh looking, pop, stop, and stop. There's the man, number 56. The All-Pro Hardy Nickerson. And he was the man on that play. Potts made the catch. Got to about the 1-yard line, and he was stuck.
Well, they expect Hardy Nickerson to be the force on the defensive side of the ball, and today you can see it right there. The guy has always been around the football, and that was the most important play of this very young Tampa Bay season.
So 3:08 for the Colts defense to try to get the ball back. Erickson gives the Buccaneers some breathing room. He's hit by Tony Bennett.
Well, one of the things that they didn't get from the Colts defense today was big plays. Erickson was able to throw a couple of touchdowns. They've been able to keep them off balance with the running game. But really, the Colts have not been able to come up with big plays on the defensive side of the ball, something they did pretty regular last week.
Craig Erickson has thrown for over 300 yards today. He has had an absolutely outstanding ball game. And remember, Trent Dilfer is waiting in the wings.
Well, I think he'll be waiting a lot longer now that Erickson has put together this type of ball game.
The give to Anthony McDowell. Let's go back to that stop a moment ago on 4th down.
You'll see Roosevelt Potts, a long setback. He checks for the blitz, then he fades out. You'll see him one-on-one with number 56, Nickerson. They're helping also with a safety coming into the play, but that is the biggest play of this game.
Charles Dimmery, who made a big play on 3rd down, reacts to the big play by Hardy Nickerson and Barney Bussey. What a great guy to have on your defense when you've got a young football team and you've got a leader like that. Sort of reminds me of Singletary when the Bears' defense was still young. Just a leader on defense.
Well, I tell you, the thing that he brings is a lot of range, a lot of ability, and of course, he is the bell cow over there. I mean, they play as he plays, and he's obviously played excellent football today. The Colts were able to get their ground game going with
play for the Buccaneers offense, for the Colts defense. It's 3rd and 4. And it's Eric Reck. And he is not. Ray Buchanan brings him down, and so the Buccaneers will have to punt. And again, another timeout call with Bucky Richardson.
Well, you always like to see your punt block team try to make something happen here. It doesn't look like they're going in the full block, but they've got some guys looking like they're trying to make something come.
Brzezinski. They call him hang time. Brewer will have to call the fair catch, and that's where the Colts will get the ball. 47-yard line, a 43-yard punt by Dan Brzezinski. And so the Colts are going to have to do things in a hurry. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. and they trail by a couple of touchdowns.
Well, this is a lot different team than what we saw last year. I said early in the broadcast, you know, they've got so many good things they can build upon. They've almost got an NFC-type attitude, and Bill Tobin, who was very successful in the NFC for years and years, and his brother, the defensive coordinator, they've brought some people in that can make an impact. Only problem is their big play people, all except Falk, didn't really show up.
1st and 10. The ball at the 47. Harbaugh has got to throw it. He does carry pass across the 45-yard line. Clock is running. 2 minutes, 25 seconds to go. Hurry up offense for the Colts.
Again, ideally, this is not the Colts type of offense. They've got the personnel to bang it out. They don't want to get behind and have to throw late in the game. No one does.
Again, over the middle. And Tampa Bay is just going to let those over-the-middle plays go.
Well, the old thing, you don't give them anything cheap deep. You let them pound underneath you, and then you break up and try to knock the ball loose.
They were hoping to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning, but they were hoping that 1994 would be another 2-0 start, but their backs are against the wall here in Tampa, trailing 24-10 at the 2-minute warning.
You can see Ted Marcher-Broda a little bit down because he really had high hopes for this team. You know, they've made a lot of progress. They've got some good people in position, but I really feel like the game changed so much when he went for the sure thing field goal on 3rd and short, instead on 4th and short, rather than going for the touchdown. It's almost like the entire team deflated.
Colts need a big play. Harbaugh has some time. Going for the home run. Ball is intercepted. It was intended for Sean Dawkins, but Martin Mayhew picks it off.
You got to take your hat off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, they started last week, the same old thing. They make some good things happen, but they shoot themselves in the foot, make some mistakes, cost them the ball game. Well, today they've avoided those mistakes. They play tough football, and here, badly overthrown ball, an easy pick for Mayhew. Jim Harbaugh, a guy that has made a career out of avoiding, dumb plays. Cannot believe that he's just fallen into one.
Dawkins just sort of stopped, expecting the ball to be there.
Well, that's the thing, you know, when you go to a team that hasn't won, it's easy to give up. That time it looks like Dawkins just quit running for the football. And obviously Harbaugh is very upset about it. But you've got to believe, and one game doesn't make a season, and it looks like Indy thought they had a lot more than they showed up with today.
The Colts are out of timeouts, so they'll just let the clock run.
Well, last week, we saw the impact that Marshall Faulk had in the huge victory over the Oilers. Jim Harbaugh played well today, but didn't make anything happen when the running game kind of fell in hard times. The other two folks here, Tony Bennett, 3 tackles today, but no big impact plays. Last week, a sack, a number of tackles, and a touchdown. Here you'll see what he did last week. And Floyd Turner couldn't find him with a search warrant. You've got to have players show up each and every week. Durability over ability.
Well, you can't blame this one on Marshall Faulk. He still had an outstanding afternoon, both carrying the ball and had a couple of big receiving plays as well, but a very frustrated Jim Harbaugh. The Colts next week have a very tough test. They'll play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, one of the things that obviously they can build on is the fact that their ground game has a certain NFC quality to it. It's hard to attain that. They've got it with Faulk and their very solid offensive line. Harbaugh's a smart guy. He won't put you in bad position. But what you got to do is be able to score. And if you're going to act like a bully, you got to put your chin out. You got to go for it when you're 4th and 1 inside the other team's 10. When they did, they failed to go for it. The entire team deflated. Tampa Bay took over. Credit to Tampa Bay. They played excellent football today and avoided mistakes.
And lots of credit to that guy. Number 7, Craig Erickson, who threw for over 300 yards, one of his biggest days ever as a pro.
And had a drop in the end zone by Green that would have put him into, you know, the superstar type of performance. You're right. Big game by Craig Erickson.
Ted Marchibroda comes off the field. As we talked to him yesterday, he really felt that this team had an opportunity to get off to a terrific start. Really feels good about his talent. But by no means was he overconfident going in to play the Buccaneers. He said to us that they're a lot better than people give them credit for.
Well, again, you know, Tampa Bay